Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to walk you through how to create a modal segue in Objective-C for iOS apps. So very first thing we're going to do is create a new application in Xcode, and we're going to pick a single view application, and we're going to call this modal demo. And the other things don't really matter for what we're doing here. I'm going to do the class prefix my just to distinguish it from other classes, and we'll hit next and create. And here is our application. So the very first thing we're going to do is come to main storyboard, where we have our first view controller, and we need to add another view controller that we're going to use to essentially pop over this one, so for the modal. So we're going to put that in, center it. So now we have these two windows. In the first one, I'm going to change the background color so you can actually see that it's different. And I'm going to put on a label saying that this is the level 1, and a quick shortcut too, if you click on it and click on the label and hit Command equals, it'll actually stretch to the full width that it needs to be. So just a little Xcode shortcut. And next thing we're going to do is add a button, and this button is what we're going to use to pop this open, and we're going to change it and call this pop modal. And for buttons, they come standard blue, which doesn't work with this background, so we're going to change this to a white color. Now that works. Now onto our next view controller. I want to change this background color so you can see that it's going to be different, and we're going to add a label here saying that this is our pop, and then a button. And the button is going to say close modal. And we'll give this a white. I will make this white as well. Okay. So in order to wire all this up, first thing you have to do is click on this pop modal, click on Control, and then drag it onto this view controller, and this action segue pops up. And now we just have to click on push, or I'm sorry, push would be the normal state. Click on modal, because we're wanting to create a modal pop-up, and this segue has been created. And if we want to test this out, hit play in the top left-hand corner, and let's see this in the simulator. So here we have level 1. We have our pop modal button. Click on that, and it works. Now, we haven't wired up this close modal, so if I click that, you see nothing happens. So right now, there's no way to actually get back to level 1. So in Xcode or iOS and Objective-C don't actually have a built-in way of doing that easily. So what we're going to do is actually create a custom segue during the rest of the tutorial that builds in this close modal button, and it could be used also to go to some other part of the application or something like that. So we're going to close out of that, and now we're going to create a class. So all you have to do is come up here into the file menu, right click, and click on new file, and we want an Objective-C class, and we're just going to call this my pop segue. And it's going to, yours is going to be different. I tested this out before filming this, and you want this to be a subclass of UI storyboard segue. So this is actually already set up properly. Yours will probably say a subclass of NSObject or something like that. Xcode, remember, is the last one you did, so that's why it's there. So to get that, just open it up and start typing it in, and it'll come up. But you want this to be a subclass of UI storyboard segue. Hit next. just hit create right in that same window, and now we have these two new files added. So we have a header file, and then we have this implementation file. We don't actually have to do anything in the header file, so you can just skip straight to the implementation right here, and we're going to be adding some code in this section. So the first thing we're going to do, because we're creating a method, is we're going to do a dash, and then we need to give the method, this is going to return void, and then I'm going to do some typing here to build this out, and then I'm going to walk you through how it actually functions. So we're going to do an action called perform, which is built in. It's a built-in method in the class that we're inheriting from. And if that doesn't make sense, don't worry, because I'm going to explain it here in a second. And so the next thing we're going to do is, now inside this block, we're going to create a variable, and the variable's of type UI view controller. And we need to create a pointer, and in that pointer we're going to call the pointer source. So this is the variable name. And now we have to tell Xcode what we're going to put into this source variable, and it's going to be UI view controller, and do a pointer in the parentheses, and then we're going to call self dot source view controller, and then in that statement. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry, I'm going to show you how you can actually find out how you would type that in, because the first time I saw that I was kind of confused on how you'd know that without already knowing to type it in, so that's fine. Now below that, we're going to actually create we're going to use the methods and manipulate the source. So type in source, and then we're going to call presenting view controller, and the presenting view controller is the root view controller, and then we're going to say dismiss view controller animated. And so that's essentially saying, this view controller that's popping up, this is how I'm going to get rid of it. And it requires a Boolean value like you see there, and we want to say yes because we want it animated. And for completion, we just want to do nil. And then end that statement, and let's save it and run it and see if this works. Oh, you know what? Sorry. I ran it and I just realized we forgot to actually hook this button up. So, okay, so now with close modal, click on that, at this button, hit Control, and then drag it back to the first view controller. And now, if you remember from the first time we did this, you saw that we had push, modal, and custom. Well, now we actually have my pop segue, which is our custom method that we're doing for this segue. So we created, which is pretty cool, we actually created our own action segue right here. So click on my pop segue, and you can see, let me get rid of some of this stuff here so you can see it better. You can see Xcode actually generated this kind of weird looking controller, and what it are almost like these routes, and I'll drag it so you can see it a little bit better. So this custom segue shows that it actually is almost kind of like a loop a little bit. So you're going to come here, and then it's going to come all the way back here. So that's what a close modal action method is going to look like. So we'll save that now that that's all wired up. Hit play, and we're going to test it out. The build succeeded, so we didn't have any errors. And it opens up. So now we click on pop modal, it pops it up, hit close, and it brings it right back, and you can keep on doing that. So this is great if you have a about us page, or you have something in your app that you want to pop up really quickly and easily and then just hide. This is a great way of doing it. So you now know how to create a modal and then how to take it off the screen. So great job. If you look below in the show notes, you'll see that, or on the side, depending on what you're viewing this on, you'll be able to go to the GitHub repository and see all of this code that I put in it, and you can download it and play with it yourself. So please let me know if you have any questions at all.